Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We are continuing with Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter number 18, text number 64. Sarva guhyatmam bhuyaya shrinu me paramam vachaha ishto asi me dhridam iti tato bhakshyami te hitam. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Excuse me. Because you are my very dear friend, I am speaking to you my supreme instruction, the most confidential knowledge of all. Hear this from me, for it is for your benefit. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunminitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So we have come to that part where Krishna is repeating knowledge. We've been actually this number 18 chapter is basically the summary of all that Krishna has spoken right from chapter 2 onwards. And as we read in this verse, Krishna is saying, now I'm going to give you most confidential knowledge, most confidential part of the Bhagavad Gita, and he calls it supreme instruction. That means there's nothing above that. Supreme means topmost, and it's most confidential because one cannot understand Bhagavad Gita just by hearing or reading. No. Only when we get the mercy of the Supreme Lord Krishna that we can understand the Bhagavad Gita. And Krishna wants Arjuna to hear. He says, now you hear what I am saying. So hearing is the most important part of Bhakti Yoga. Because until and unless we hear, we will not be able to put it into practice. And Krishna is giving us the result also. If you hear the supreme instruction, it will be for your ultimate benefit. Ultimate means again topmost. The best benefit that we can ever get, you see. So all this while from chapter 2 onwards, Krishna gave the confidential knowledge, which is knowledge of the Brahman, which is the opulence, or not opulence, the effulgence, Brahma Jyoti, that effulgence of the Supreme Lord. Then he gave more confidential knowledge about himself as the super soul, Paramatma in the heart. And now he's giving the most confidential knowledge. What is that? We would like to know, right? So the most confidential knowledge, the most confidential part of the Bhagavad Gita is verse number 66 of this chapter, which is surrendering unto Krishna. Now he has repeated this many times over the past few chapters. He has explained to Arjuna how important it is to surrender to Krishna. Now he is repeating that same again. Why? Because it's very, very important. That is the essence of the Bhagavad Gita, is to surrender unto Krishna. Now one may say, what does it mean to surrender? Does it mean we just bow down to him? No. Surrender means follow his instructions that are given in the Bhagavad Gita. That is the essence. Now, the first 6 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita that we studied was about Karma Yoga. The next 6 chapters, which is the middle 6 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita, was about Bhakti Yoga, how to perform devotional service to Krishna. And these last 6 chapters are about Jnana Yoga, knowledge. You see, if you notice, there's Karma Yoga, then there's Bhakti Yoga, and then there's Jnana Yoga, which means Bhakti Yoga is in the middle, which is protected from up and from down, from Karma Yoga and from Jnana Yoga. Why Bhakti is protected? Because it is the treasure of Bhagavad Gita. The purpose of understanding Bhagavad Gita is so we can perform bhakti, which is devotional service. It is a valuable treasure, so it is in between those 6 chapters on top. So Krishna, when they were at the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Krishna saw that Arjuna, he's been, thinking a lot. Of course, he was confused, but he was deliberating on what he had heard from Krishna so far. So when Krishna saw that position of Arjuna, out of compassion, Krishna wanted to give him the essence of all that he spoke up till now. You see? And Arjuna was able to understand Bhagavad Gita is because Krishna blessed him. There was mercy of Krishna. See? So if we can understand Bhagavad Gita only when Krishna sees our sincere endeavor to understand, our sincere endeavor to put it into practice, that is when he helps. So he sees our sincere endeavors. We cannot understand Bhagavad Gita by reading or just by hearing. No. We need his mercy without fail. Now, next verse onwards, Krishna gives the more description of most confidential knowledge, and that is, he says, Man mana bhava mad bhakto mad yaji mam namaskuru. He is saying that always think of me. He doesn't say think of me on Sundays or think of me on weekends. No. He's saying always think of me. So he gives different points. He says always think of me. Then he says become my devotee, worship me, offer homage unto me. So these are the 4 things. When we do these 4 things, Krishna says the result will be you will come to me. It won't be instant, but when we give up this body, Krishna will take us back to his eternal home. And Krishna says, I promise you this. He's not just saying it. You see, when we want something to relate to somebody which is very important and we want them to take it seriously, we promise, right? Like for instance, if, someone invites us and we say, yes, I will come. I'll come on Sunday. Then they are not too sure, then say, I promise I will come on Sunday. So that becomes like a deal, So here Krishna is giving a deal to Arjuna. In other words, he's giving it to us. He tells Arjuna, you're my very dear friend. That's why I'm giving you this most confidential knowledge. And what is that? Always think of me, become my devotee, worship me, and offer homage unto me. And the result will be, at the end, you will come back to me, and I promise you this. So these are the 4 things that Krishna is revealing to Arjuna. Now, how do we always think of Krishna? That's not possible, one may say, because we have so many responsibilities, we have so much to do, right? We have, I'm sorry, I forgot to turn on my camera. I just realized that the camera was off. So Krishna is trying to give us this knowledge about this most confidential knowledge. And that most confidential knowledge is to worship him, become his devotee, right? Become his devotee. So when Krishna is talking about these 4 things, always think of me. Now, what does it mean? Always think of Krishna. How can we do that? We have so many responsibilities. We have so much, work. We have to go to office or do business or take care of the family. There's so much going on, right? How do we do that? So, best thing is, if we do mantra meditation early in the morning, first thing in the morning, if we chant the holy names, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. When we do that early in the morning, then our consciousness starts getting purified. And then throughout the day, we continue to remember the holy names. We continue to remember Krishna. Anything like, for instance, we want to drink a glass of water, we say, oh, water is Krishna. The taste of water is Krishna, and we drink it. That is how we change our consciousness. So if we chant in the morning, then we'll be able to remember Krishna always. Now he says, become my devotee. How do we become his devotee? Again, when we chant. That is the very first step of Bhakti Yoga. That is why in every class I talk about chanting, about mantra meditation, because it's very, very important. Just like when I am diseased, I go to the doctor and the doctor gives me medication. So it's very, very important that I take that medication. Otherwise, how will I cure myself? So similarly, chanting the holy names of the Lord is our medication. In this Kali Yuga, this is the medication. And Krishna says, worship me. How do we worship? By hearing about him, like we hear the Bhagavad Gita, by chanting, by observing Ekadashi, by following the 4 regulative principles. This is the way we worship Krishna. How? By following his instructions. This is how we will offer our respects to Krishna. You see? So the whole purpose of this verse that Krishna is talking about, man mana bhav mad bhakto mad yaji mam namaskru. The idea is so that we can purify ourselves. You see, when we start getting purified by chanting, then we will be able to think of Krishna always. We don't want to become an official meditator. No. We want to mold our lives in such a way that we can connect with Krishna. Very, very important. We have to arrange our life in such a way that we are conscious of him all the time. This is how we can progress on the path of Bhakti Yoga. Idea is to concentrate our mind on Krishna. This is the most confidential part of Bhagavad Gita, becoming fully conscious of Krishna. And the easiest method is to chant the holy names. And when Krishna sees our sincere endeavors, he's giving us a guarantee that after you give up this body, you will come to me, to the spiritual world, the eternal home. And so there is no need to doubt his guarantee. He's promising us. But now the choice is ours, whether we want to come back into this material world again, take another material body, and then go through all the sufferings of birth, disease, old age, death, all different kinds of miseries. Or we want to break this cycle of birth and death and go back to the spiritual world. If that is our choice, then here is the formula given to us by Krishna. You see, Arjuna thought that he has to perform a lot of austerities. He has to renounce everybody and everything. That is how he can purify himself. But Krishna says, no, do your prescribed duty. You are a Kshatriya, you are a warrior, you are a soldier. Your job is to fight on the battle and do your duty. But you do it in my consciousness, you see. And this is how gradually Krishna explained to Arjuna right up to this point where he comes to this most confidential part where he says, surrender unto me. The summary of the whole Bhagavad Gita is in chapter 18, verse number 66. Sarva dharman parityagya mam ekam sharanam vraja. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo moksha ishyami ma suchaha. Krishna says, abandon. He uses a very strong word. He doesn't say give up. He says, abandon all varieties of religion. Just surrender unto me. And what will be the result? He says, I'll deliver you of all sinful reactions. And then he gives a guarantee. Ma suchaha. Do not fear. So here it's a very clear-cut formula for us how to surrender and what is the result of surrendering. So Krishna is giving, he's already given knowledge of renunciation, about him being super soul within the heart. He's talked about sense control. He's talked about meditation. And now in this last few verses of especially the whole chapter of Bhagavad Gita 18 is summarizing all his instructions. And after explaining all different processes, now he's saying, give up everything, abandon all processes I've explained so far, like karma yoga, jnana yoga, ashtanga yoga, dhyana yoga, whatever I've explained, abandon all that. Just simply surrender unto me. See, we all human beings in our past, even in this life probably, we've committed a lot of sins, a lot of sinful activities. So for that we have to reap the results of those sinful activities, which is going to be misery, right? So here Krishna is giving us an opportunity to wipe our slate clean. All the sinful actions that we perform, he is ready to clear out all of it and make it zero. That means remove all our sinful reactions. And he's giving us a promise for protection. So if we accept this most confidential knowledge of Krishna, given by Krishna from the Bhagavad Gita, and we accept the fact that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and we surrender unto him, that means we follow the instructions of the Bhagavad Gita, not just because I say so or because Krishna has said so, no, because we want to, which means we want to surrender with faith and love. And be confident that there is going to be protection by Krishna. So when we seriously engage in devotional service in Bhakti Yoga, at once Krishna will help us free from all kinds of contamination. But the thing is that devotional service that we perform should be in full consciousness. That is the essence of Bhagavad Gita. We have to be fully conscious. We have to be aware of the fact, who am I? That I am the spirit soul. Who is God? That is Lord Shri Krishna. How does karma work? Why am I suffering? What is my ultimate destination? When we are very clear, we have clear knowledge about all this, then Krishna helps us, you see. So if, like for instance, in the purport, one of the purports of these few verses of the Bhagavad Gita, Srila Prabhupada, he glorifies full and immediate surrender. See, we don't have much time. No one knows, how long we are going to live. There is, like I said, padam padam yat vipadam. At every step there is danger. We have no idea when is going to be our last moment. So Prabhupada is stressing on the point that we should immediately surrender to the Supreme Lord. How? By following this process given to us in the Bhagavad Gita. And what will be the result? We'll become qualified, right? Just like we want to visit another country that requires a visa, we need to qualify to get a visa stamped on our passport, right? We have to submit all our documents. We have to follow all the instructions in the form, everything that is required. Then and only then we will be allowed to enter that country. So following the process is very important and getting qualified. So now, after getting this most confidential knowledge, right, what should we do? That should be our intelligent question, right? Should we keep this knowledge to ourselves, keep it secret, and not distribute it widely? Krishna gives the answer to that. In the very next verse, he says that explaining this knowledge to others is very, very important. But he says, never explain this confidential knowledge to those who are not austere, those who are not devoted, those who are not in performing devotional service, and those who are envious of the Supreme Lord. He's making it very clear. So this Bhagavad Gita is not for any and everybody. It is provided we qualify ourselves to hear the Bhagavad Gita, right? So To achieve liberation and to become free from all anxieties, austerity is very important. That's why Krishna says, don't explain it to one who is not austere, because they have not really understood the purpose of human form of life. So austerity is a requirement. And that is why we chant every day. It's an austerity. It's not simple and easy to chant every day. We have to find time. We have to make it a priority, right? That's an austerity. Following the 4 regulative principles is an austerity. Observing Ekadashi, fasting on that day, no grains and beans, it's an austerity. Eating only prasadam, which is food offered to Krishna, that is also an austerity. Hearing Bhagavad Gita is an austerity. Is it easy to come Sunday morning, some time hearing about Bhagavad Gita? That's an austerity, right? Reading Bhagavad Gita daily is an austerity. You see? Giving Bhagavad Gita to others is an austerity. So, Krishna is saying if one is not austere, that means that person is not really interested in spirituality. And so obviously is not devoted to the Supreme Lord, is not chanting. And when does that happen? When people think, I am God. They become envious of the Supreme Lord. So Krishna says, do not give this knowledge to them, because they will not understand. Instead, they will start blaspheming the Supreme Lord. They'll start blaspheming the devotees, right? Why give this knowledge to those who have no faith? That's waste of time. A nice example could be, why sow seeds in barren land? Because we know it's not going to fructify, right? That is waste of time. But the positive side is what Krishna is explaining to Arjuna now. He says, if someone explains this supreme secret to devotees, what is the result? Pure devotional service is guaranteed. So if we explain this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita to others, those who are, who have faith in the Lord, who have a little bit of devotion, if we explain, then Krishna guarantees that person will become pure, will, become a pure devotee of the Lord. You see? Pure devotional service is guaranteed, Krishna says. And he says at the end, that devotee will go back to Krishna, to the spiritual world. So, we should not explain Bhagavad Gita whimsically. That's an offense, you see. We need to teach the Bhagavad Gita to those who are ready to accept Krishna as the Supreme Lord. You see, Bhagavad Gita is not for philosophical speculation. Oh, let me see what Krishna has to say. Maybe not this, maybe... No speculation is necessary. You see? And who is it Bhagavad Gita for? For us, human beings. We cannot explain Bhagavad Gita to cats and dogs and animals. They are not going to understand. But because we human beings, we have philosophical intelligence, we can understand the Bhagavad Gita. So the purpose of human form of life is to purify ourselves, purify our intelligence, purify our consciousness, and become self-realized. Understand what is the goal of human life. Goal is to break the cycle of birth and death and go back to the spiritual world, which is our eternal home. Why should we continue to suffer in the material world? We are like the fish out of the water. We may take out the fish out of the water and give the fish a $5 million home, lots of things to eat, a Jaguar in the driveway, lots of jewelry, everything we may give. But the fish is not going to be happy because it is outside its constitutional position, which is in the water. So we are like fish out of the water. We are supposed to be in the spiritual world, but now we are in the material world. And we think we can make ourselves happy. How can we be happy if we are in a foreign land? This material world is a foreign place for us, right? So Krishna is explaining to Arjuna that Mamai Vamsha Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana, that all these living entities, they are my amshas, they are my parts, which means we are children of the same Supreme Lord. And the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Father, He wants all His children to come back to the eternal home. And in Bhagavad Gita, He's showing us the way how we can liberate ourselves from the cycle of birth and death. So explaining the Bhagavad Gita to others makes one very dear to Krishna. So if we give this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita to others, it is very pleasing to Krishna. And He declares it. He says, there's no one more dear to me than that person who gives this most confidential knowledge to others. And He says, there never ever be anyone more dear to me than one who gives this knowledge. So it's very pleasing to Krishna to see this most confidential knowledge. You see, Bhagavad Gita is a manual. It's called an owner's manual for human beings. It's just like when we buy a new car or a new gadget, we get a manual with it that explains to us how to use that gadget or how to use that car. Similarly, this human form of body has got an owner's manual, which is the Bhagavad Gita as it is. And if we follow that manual, then we'll be able to use this material body in the right way. You see? And at the end, we will be able to go back to the spiritual world. So I have covered up to verse number 69 today. Next Sunday, I will conclude the Bhagavad Gita. Like, it'll be the end, the end of the 18th chapter, which is the end of the Bhagavad Gita. So we'll conclude it next Sunday, the whole Bhagavad Gita. So far, we have learned from chapter 2 onwards. Of course, chapter 1 is the setting of the scene, the battlefield, and Arjuna's confusion, etc. So Krishna starts speaking the Bhagavad Gita from chapter 2 onwards. So far, it started with Karma Yoga. The whole yoga ladder Krishna has explained, starting with Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, everything. Then he also has explained the 5 subjects of the Bhagavad Gita, who is God, the spirit soul, material nature, eternal time, and karma. And he has, all through these chapters, he has helped us to realize who we really are, that we are the spirit soul. He's explained about himself, his opulences, his qualifications. He's shown us how to transcend the 3 modes of material nature. And now he's showing us how to surrender unto him. And he's giving us a guarantee that there's going to be a result. The result will be that you will break this cycle of birth and death and come back to the eternal world. So Bhagavad Gita is actually the key to our eternal success. All we need to do is unlock using this key. Then we can go back to the spiritual world, where there is eternal happiness, permanent peace. But now we have to decide, what do we want? Do we want, do we want eternal happiness, eternal success? Do we, want a permanent peace? Then we have to perform austerity. What kind of austerity? The daily dose of medication, which is chanting the holy names of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. When we chant every day, 16 rounds, this will remove the dirt from our heart. It will purify. If we eat only Krishna Prasadam, food that is offered to Krishna, if we follow the 4 regulative principles, if we observe Ekadashi, we continue to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, like we are associating with each other on Sundays, we associate with each other, with devotees. All these will help us in purification, and the result will be, we will liberate ourselves from this body, and we will find peace and happiness even while we are living in this material world. Even while there is a lot of chaos around us, we will still find peace and happiness. Why? Because Bhagavad Gita gives us the spiritual strength to face any difficulty. This is the most confidential part of Bhagavad Gita. What more do we want, right? There's nothing more that we want. So I'm going to conclude now. I have completed till verse number 69. And I said, as I mentioned earlier, we will conclude the Bhagavad Gita next Sunday. And then we'll take a break of 3 weeks because I'm going to India. And I have a question for all of you. So after I come back from India, when we restart our classes, what would you like to hear? Would you like to hear the Bhagavad Gita again? Or would you like to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, which is one level higher than the Bhagavad Gita? Or would you like to hear the pastimes of Lord Krishna, which is there in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam? So you all think about it and let me know next Sunday what we can do after I come back of my 3-week break. So I'm going to end now. And if anyone has any questions or comments, you are very welcome to ask.
Recording stopped.
Excuse me. Yes, Hare Krishna.